We're live. Oops, sorry, y'all. Y'all getting the whole show. I'm trying to get comfy without falling over. There we go. Trying to get comfy without falling over. Oh man. Um. Okay. Yeah, my internet did a thing. Internet did a thing. But yeah. Um. Just trying to let some folks pop on, whichever one pops on first. Will it be TikTok, YouTube, or Facebook? Who's gonna be the first one? Let's see who's going to be first. Is going to be TikTok, YouTube, or the Book of Many Faces. Um, give it a second. Give it another couple of seconds, and then I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I got all my notes from the movie. And TikTok wins first in. TikTok won. Yay, y'all beat YouTube and Facebook popping on. Hi. What's good, everybody? Happy Thursday. Make sure y'all, say hello, where you're from, where you're from. If you have not watched the movie They Clone Tyrone and you intend to watch it and don't like spoilers, I love you. This ain't the live for you. I love you, but this is not the live for you. And for those of you wondering, are you like not doing like I'm gonna the spirituals in there. I just watched the movie last night, and there was just so much happening in the movie. I had to, and I haven't watched anybody's reviews or anything. So as y'all are coming in, let me do quick intros. Hi, I'm Ianifa Dania Faomi Shango. I'm a spiritual awakening doula for the African American diaspora and Ifa priestess. And I just watched They Clone Tyrone. I had already heard like mixed feelings about who enjoyed it, who didn't. It was interesting to me when I look back now, whose posts where they said they didn't like it, they thought the movie was trash. It's interesting which of these people said that, as opposed to the people that said they enjoyed the movie. I paid attention to that. So this is, I was talking to my mother about the movie, who she's now going to watch it. She was like it's a ghetto sci-fi. I'm like, yes, it's like they hype up the comedy. Like, that's interesting to me. They hype up the comedy aspect of the movie when people I heard about it, but they don't hype up the fact that it's a sci-fi movie. For me, it felt like I was watching Black Mirror, but specifically directed at Black people. It was like I'm watching Black Mirror, but this is a Black Mirror episode that ran 2 hours, and it was specifically targeting us to get the message. And I was like, okay. The reason I ended up actually watching it was because my manager / mentor, he actually touched on two things that said I should go ahead and watch this. So the two things that he said that they touched on in this movie are, I watched They Clone Tyrone, and I just want to talk about all the different little messages and things and jewels that I saw them drop. But my manager specifically talked about, I don't know if this is everywhere. I know we have a spot close to my house when they make the chicken, they sprinkle this stuff on there, this powder. I don't know what it is. I never want it. That's what's wild to me is I don't want that. What are you putting on my chicken? I don't even know what that is. Don't put that on there. But that's what they do. They sprinkle it on the chicken. They sprinkle it on the fries. Even at the other wing place I go to, you want to add some extra seasoning? No, you season the food already, right? Yes, I enjoyed it. I like, you seasoned my food already, didn't you? So why do I even need this on here? So they touched on that, and he told me that the sister in the group was the only one that didn't get cloned. And I was immediately like, oh, there's a message here, which he knew too, but he wouldn't give me anything else. He just like, you got to go watch the movie. So I got like a page full of notes, page full of notes, page full of copious notes. And that's not even notes for the whole movie. But this is what I will say. If you watch the movie and you're listening to this and you feel like you didn't see or catch any of these things, that's okay. The seed is planted. The seed is planted. And for me, the way I see it is if you actually enjoyed it as you were watching it, that ground the seed went in was just a little bit more fertile, a little more moist, but otherwise the seed is there. The seed is there. So I was like, okay. So when I thought about that chicken and the stuff they sprinkle on it in that scene, and so when it was wild to me, first off, children, like stop touching things. Immediately when they're in the lab, I'm like, don't touch nothing. Not only you will touch it, you're gonna sniff it. Bruh, why you put this in your face? See, you acting like one of them in the movie. We're not supposed to do that. I understand there's only us predominantly in the movie. That doesn't mean one of you got to take their place, in the movie, doing stuff you're not touching, things that you're not supposed to be touching. So, but what I appreciate is that knowing, that light bulb going off, like, I know what this feels like. This don't feel like a natural happiness. This feels artificial in some capacity. And it was wild to me when he said, I have never seen you laugh. And anybody else watching that would have been like, oh, or they would have taken something else from it. But the look on his face told me there's a problem with the fact that he's laughing. There's a problem with the fact that he's laughing. And then he starts paying attention all around him. See, everybody be laughing and joking and kikiing. And I also feel like that was a call to us in terms of how we laugh through our pain. But sometimes in that laughter, people don't see that we're also in pain. So he's looking around, paying attention to his surroundings. And it's like, yo, stop eating that. Don't eat that. And I've looked at how many of the staples that are associated with our community that they touched on being negatively influenced by outsiders to influence us to be more docile, more agreeable, more amenable. So I'm like, okay, all right. So all these chicken places that I know of that do the little sprinkle stuff on the chicken, all of them are in our neighborhoods. Every last one of them. And I'm like, okay. And like Black Mirror never talks about technology that does not already exist. Black Mirror talks about the shadow aspect of that technology be used against us or going awry, like going way left. So we all know about perms and relaxers and things like that. But the fact that they touched on those chemicals not simply being something that straightens the hair, but it's on our crown. It's on our crown. It's attached to our head. So those chemicals going into our mind and possibly influencing us negatively, I was like, that was really well done, because all of the women in that beauty salon were talking about their woes. They were talking about the things that just were not right in their life, and immediately went to this, you know what? It's probably not as bad as I think it is. I'm just going to stop complaining kind of energy, and kind of just, again, became docile. And I'm like, okay, all righty then. Straight, hard side eye. All righty then. Then they hit the Black church, and I was like, okay. And for the Black church scene for me was less about the great drink and more about the message that was being given to their congregation. It's okay. It is outside of your control. Ain't nothing you can do. You have no power. You need to give your power. You need to look outside of yourself, because you have no power. So go ahead and look outside of you for solace. Look outside of yourself. And for my conscious folks, we know, like, we are one with the Most High. We're not separate. I don't have to look outside for God. I can look in the mirror and see the source's reflection. But that's not what my friends, anybody I know that's not taught, that's outside of me. I can tell they're taught that when I listen to them talk about their accolades. I will listen to them talk about the things that they've accomplished in their life. And when I listen to them talk about the things that they accomplished in their life, they do not let themselves give themselves credit. As if the creator didn't create you to be this great. As if the source didn't create you to be able to achieve the task. And since you are doing it, you still feel like you have to give that credit away. You still feel you can't take ownership of it. Thank you. They can't take ownership of their greatness. They can't take ownership of their excellence. So when they're in pain and in trauma, the same thing that's being told to them is like, there's nothing you can do. Go ahead and look outside of yourself. Go ahead and look outside of yourself. Go ahead and just listen to what they say. If you just listen, isn't that what they say when we get pulled over? If you would just listen, if you would just do as you're told, if you would just be good little Negroes, that was the message in that church. And I was just saying like, oh, they want to step on everybody's neck. We're not even an hour in. Wait, we're not even an hour. Like we're probably just at an hour into the movie. We're just at an hour into the movie. When they go to that lab and then they go deep into it, like they were just surface level when they found the powder and the body of the previous Fontaine. But when they go deeper, it feels like shadow work. They go deeper into the unconscious mind of not simply one Black person, but the Black collective. They go deep into, ooh, that felt okay. They go deep into the consciousness of the Black collective. And they look at the various things. They look at the various things that have been influencing the community, from music to food to violence. They look at these various tools of control to control the mind of the Black collective. And they're sitting there looking at all the ways that our people have been brainwashed, that our people are being controlled, that our people are being manipulated, make them docile, make them violent, make them agreeable, make them followers instead of leaders. Like when they took our ancestors to them lithium springs before putting them on the boats. How do you, like, real talk, think about this? It's illogical to think all of these big, strong Black men and women were not going to fight. But it would make sense if they made them drink water from a lithium spring. It made sense if you have them drink water from a lithium spring and then recite affirmations. And affirmations are simply incantations, whether they are for the good or for not so good. So the brainwashing didn't stop from the time they put us on ships. It still goes on. So looking at all these experiments, and this is not new. We know they've been doing experiments on our people. We know this. We know they've been doing experiments on our people. This movie just made like glaring, like there. But not everybody wants to hear that. Not everybody wants to hear that right underneath us, they are doing things to pit us against each other. They are doing things to keep us playing small. Let me not take credit. Let me be the shadow aspect of being humble. I can't be humble and have pride. Humility simply means that when you are operating in your gift, you're not rubbing it in somebody's face. It doesn't mean that when the time comes for someone to say, hey, you did such and such a thing. Well, I really no, I did that. I sure did. And this is how I did it. And if you pay me, I will do it for you too. If you pay me, I will do it for you too. So after they see the clones, yes, I can see that connection. I can actually see that. So I'll come to that when I finish this. I won't forget, but I'll come back to that. What I will say is that we've always known that they existed. That's what I'll say, but I'll come to that. So after they see the experiments and everything's going on, and especially seeing clones of themselves, and that's when what my mentor said stuck out to me. He's like, she was the only one not cloned. The Black woman was the only one not cloned. In fact, when you look at how many people were cloned, the vast majority of them were our brothers. The vast majority of the clones were our brothers. It's not that there weren't any sisters, but when you look and paid attention to all the people that were out there with no clothes and naked, it were our brothers. It was our brothers. And I'm like, okay. And then you think about her, she was also the only one in the group who was trying to what? Get out. Let me say that again. She was the only one of the three of them who was she was doing what she was doing, but she had a plan. She had a plan and she had a mission to get her coins and get out, to go do something else. She saw something bigger for herself. They looking at her like, why should you see yourself bigger? They want her, they clone Tyrone. She saw herself bigger than where she was at and knew she no longer fit in that particular energy. So she decided she was trying to chuck the deuces. But what she did with that elevator scene was that even though I'm trying to change my life, even though I'm trying to grow and expand, what I cannot do is leave my brother behind. So I'm going to go with you. What I'm going to do is stand there beside you, even when I think you being cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Why is you even on this elevator? We don't do this in these movies. But I'm going to stand beside you anyway. Not only am I going to stand beside you, but I'll protect you. She was before Slick pulled out the weapon with him, it was the sister that pulled it out. Please, if you didn't catch it, I need you to watch the movie again. I need you to watch the movie all over again. So when they get through and they're like, everything happens and, they come through the club scene and, it's like this small population of people saying this is not right. While you have everyone else saying, no, just follow the trend, just follow the trend. Wiggle your hips, follow the trend. You got a small group of people trying to protect the masses, even if the masses won't protect themselves. Thank you for the roses. Thank you so much for the glitter badges. It's a bear. Look, glasses, bear, charge it to my eyeballs. And thank you. There's this little population of people trying to change the minds of the many. You think about the rebellions, the Nat Turners. You think about the Escapes, the Harriet Tubmans. These are small groups of people. The Haitian Revolution. Look, that's a perfect, the contrast with the Haitian Revolution. It was a large group. We all in this, as opposed to small handfuls of people in the Americas trying to accomplish the same task. Small groups and pockets and individual people trying to move the many. And so then they get put in this position and they feel like there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. The first thing he does is tell the black man to do what? Take out the black woman. Let me say that again. Please make sure. Did you catch it? They're standing out there. And the first thing they tell him to do is take out the black woman or take out yourself. One of the two, but both of you can't be. We can't have both the black man and the black woman working together. One of you has to be taken out. One of you got to go. And black woman, if you want to protect your black man, I guess you need to keep your mouth shut. Please tell me you called it. Please. Black woman, if you want to protect your black man, then you must keep silent. You must, was it Nixon? Okay. That shows how much of him I paid attention to. The only thing I paid attention to was let's keep their Sutherland. That's it. That's all I got. that's it. That I didn't hear his name, nothing. I was like, I haven't seen Kiefer Sutherland in a long time. That's all I got. But the fact that his name is Nixon is wild. So when they get back to life, back to reality. That song is about a near-death experience. That's probably significant as to why I felt like that was a right song, because I'm partially channeling. So they get back to life. And who is the one that is still ready to take them down? Which part of the group? It's still the sister. She's like, yeah, in front of them, I'm going to pretend like, okay, all right, I hear you. I'm going to do what you said. And then the next day, immediately ready with smoke to give was Yo-Yo. Immediately. She comes circle back. Hey, y'all ready? You ready? Let's go. And the reactions were so interesting when it was like, okay, you got that one aspect looking at them in the group. You've got the one that is like, I am about to protect everybody. Let me say that again. There's one who's like, I'm going to protect everybody. We must protect everyone. Then you got the one in the group is like, none of them impact my life. You got one of them talking about none of them have anything to do with me. I don't care what happens to them. I'm just going to go live my life and try to be left alone. And you got one that sees it, understands, knows it is wrong, but it is too afraid because they don't know what to do. They do not know how to stand in their own power and to evoke change. Did y'all catch that too? Did you catch that? Indeed. And so we got this sister, and then she's trying to get her brothers to come with her. Come with me. Come with me. I need to do this with you. Why? This is not because the woman is weak. It's because when we think about, and before I say this statement, please do not minimize masculine and feminine to gender because it has nothing to do with gender. Nothing. This is about energy. And in that moment, she was actually operating in her feminine. Y'all think she's operating in her masculine. In that moment, she was operating in her feminine. See, people want to let protection be limited to a masculine expression. It was not. She was operating in her feminine. She is channeling. In that moment, she's channeling Nancy Drew. That whole time, she's been channeling Nancy Drew like she was a spirit guide. That whole time, Yo-Yo was channeling Nancy Drew like she was a spirit guide, guiding her steps, ordering her steps. She was listening to her Ori so that she can intuitively know what it was she was supposed to do. The fact that she knew 10 steps ahead. Let me put an afro wig on because they can't tell our real hair from our fake hair anyway. So I'm going to put this afro wig on just in case. You know what where the wig is? Veiling. Let me say that again because I feel like the sisters don't realize this. When you are wearing a wig, when you are doing protective hairstyles, you are veiling. And the act of veiling is the protecting of your crown using something to cover it up. Every time you cover your hair, every time you cover your head, bonnets, scarves, wigs, you are veiling. She was protecting her crown using an afro wig. She was veiling. She was veiling. And what happened when they tried to put something in her head? It wasn't able to get through because she was veiled. Come on, man. Oh. I loved her so much. Lord, I loved her. Lord, and she's even when the brothers was like, I'm still going to go do this to protect you. I need you to think about your ancestors standing in the front lines of the civil rights movement and how many mothers and sisters and aunties were standing there, protecting their brothers, protecting them. Our innate connection to the source is what makes us have the audacity to do these things. It is nothing more than our innate connection to source energy that makes us do these things. And what happens when the brothers realize the Black woman is in trouble? Their sister is in danger. Their sister is in trouble. This is the point of the movie. The sister's in trouble. The brothers have to come to her. They can no longer continue idly by and allow themselves to fall into the trap of the white patriarchy. They must go back to their Black mothers and they must protect her. They must go after her. They must go and help her. They have to go and help her. And inevitably, by going after the Black woman, by going to follow her lead so that they can also be free themselves. And what happens when Slick goes ahead and follows her lead? He is able to then stand in his own power. At that moment, he's able to stand in his own power and then finds the nerve to cloak one of his clones to look like himself so that he is able to protect her. Y'all, look. Look, yo, look. They made the movie was for us. The movie was for us. The movie was for us. And understanding the nuances within our community. And I need for my spiritual folks to not feel like because our sisters and brothers are not quote unquote woke, they should be left behind. They didn't leave anybody behind. Like, I need y'all to feel that. They said, I'm doing this for everybody, not simply for the ones who consciously are aware. I'm trying to save everybody. I'm trying to say, and even if they don't even realize, even if they can't even appreciate what's being done for them, I'm trying to save everybody. I love the fact that he used the fact that he was going to become a clone and that he was going to die. He was willing to die to protect his community. He was willing to die to protect his community. Understand, he is his ancestors. He is his ancestors. He was ready to die to protect his community. Why? Because for some people, they have to see it in the physical. When he went, it's like, yo, I need your help. And he's like, why should I? Then he knew in that moment, there was no way he was going to believe him. He had to prove it. And the only way to prove it was for him to get gone so that a new clone could come. Because there's the only way that's going to explain it. That resonated with me so heavily when I think about every once in a while, I'll get a skeptic to get a reading or divination from me. I love those. Those are my favorite. I love to do readings and divination for people who don't truly believe that it can be done. Oh, this is just something, don't tell me nothing about you. Nothing. And let me go ahead and read you for filth. Respectfully, of course. Like, I need you to, like, and when I get it and I'm done, I remember somebody, and especially love doing folks who are Christian. I feel great honor that they trust me enough to do their divination, and they always seem to have the same reaction. Why do you know my business? I said, because the Creator knows your business and told me. Whispered it right in my ear. Always get that tea that they ain't told nobody, not a living soul. That's the tea that I get. That good hot tea that they've been drinking by themselves. So he knew that was the only way. They gotta see something in the physical. Why? Because masculine energy is about the tangible. It's about the practical and the logical. And what he was being told is illogical. It feels illogical. There couldn't possibly be. Could not possibly be. So you have to come to people where they are. You have to meet them where they're at. You can't go to everybody talking 5D, blah, 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 blah. You're going to lose them. Facts. You're going to lose them. You're going to lose them. Like, why would I? Like, okay, someone asked about the alien conversation. This is what I'm going to say. It is nothing but pure arrogance and ego to think the creator of all existence on this here world just got lazy all of a sudden. It is absolutely ludicrous to think the creator of all existence, creating planets, stars, asteroids, wormholes, black holes, galaxies, timelines, universes, got lazy. He said, whew, put all this life on Earth. Guess I'm going to stop here. Did you get tired? I mean, you kind of did it in a blink, didn't you? Like, did you get exhausted? So the fact that the government decided to just admit what we already knew made the most sense. Yeah, I don't think that is I wonder if my live went out. I don't think that anything, because we already knew that aliens existed. We already knew that. You think people was making movies about aliens and things simply because it was a cool idea to make? No. like, okay, I need y'all to think about this from a logical standpoint. Why would someone make a movie about an alien? and I'm going to call out all of them: aliens, unicorns, werewolves. If there was not something in human experience that that had planted the seed in the subconscious that, oh, I can make this a movie. They may not realize it, but it's illogical to feel like it's just illogical. Hey, the creator did not go ahead and make all of this wondrous life on this earth and share. You say you want me to put life where? Get somebody else to do it. And then it's ego and arrogance on the part of human beings to think that we are the oldest thing in creation. That's the other part. That's the other bit of audacity. As if after God created, birthed, incarnated as angels, fairies, Orisha, Interu, and any other divine energy, that it stopped there. As if the creator said, like, I'm going to only make these ones tangible, but that's it. These are the only tangible thing I'm just ever going to create. I get it. I absolutely understand. And I get it. But nope. I won't tell you that some of you probably have one in your ancestry and you don't know it. It always tickles me when I see my people talk about that they're clearly aliens, as if none of us come from the stars. That's why I don't resonate with starseeds, because that particular community has been completely overrun and overwashed with anti-Blackness, as if Black people are not walking around with the cosmos in our coils. As if Black people weren't walking around with the cosmos in our coils. That's why so many traditions of indigenous culture with a lot of melanin tell folks, don't cut your hair. Keep your hair long, because we're walking around with the cosmos in our coils. That's why. So yeah, that notion that, alien, okay, they've been here. They've been here. I won't tell you that I'm not sure if I was having a lucid dream or it was just a really vivid memory where I thought it was a helicopter landing in my front yard and it turned out to be a saucer. And then I kind of felt myself astral project. I won't say that. I will not say that in my ancestral lineage that there might be something of somewhere else. No, not, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't. So like I said, and what I would say is the discernment around the fact that the creator just didn't stop. The creator didn't just stop at us. Most of us need to stop with the shenanigans. The creator didn't just stop with us. God did not get lazy and say, whew, yeah. It's interesting. So I can't relate it to that. This is what I feel about it. When I was trying to find the niche for my business, and you do all the work, you go hunt down and see who all does that. So I Googled people who read tarot, people who do spiritual work, yada, 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 specifically people that do spiritual mentorship and coaching, which is one of the main focuses of my business. And when I look, this is what the websites look like. Black women I help Black women, Black men. I help Black men. It's always narrowed that far down. And every time I tried, I could not find myself a way to narrow it. Um, oh no, it's the foolishness. Like what? No. But yeah, that part, like no, at all. um, like no, no, absolutely not. The man. So, and then I won't speak anymore because I don't do the celebrity ish. Like I don't do any of the celebrity stuff. And so I personally haven't followed almost anything regarding Jamie enough to do anything other than send hope for his getting well. But I just heard that he ended up in a situation where him and somebody else and this person had beef with him and there was an altercation and it was bad enough to where there was a brain bleed causing him to have a stroke and he ended up in the hospital. The reason why his skin tone looks that way is because we are melanated beings, and the thing that gives us that activation of our melanin to be darker is what? The sun. And if you spend all of your time in the hospital, then you are going to look lighter. If I spend several days in the house, as cocoa chocolate as I am, I'll get a little lighter. Not much, but I'll get a little lighter. And given how long he had been working on his wellness, it makes perfect sense he looked like a pale face. Sometimes, a little knowledge in the wrong hands, a little knowledge in the wrong hands, little knowledge in the wrong hands. Knowledge is a beautiful thing, but even knowledge, yeah, as far as what I saw, I feel like he's okay. And if he's not, then the truth will come to light one way or the other. The truth will come to light one way or the other. But this whole notion of like, and it's always because it's Black people. Hi. It's like it's always because it's us. It's and we can't have no success, no greatness without somebody immediately trying. We can't have success. We can't be sick. We can't do anything. We can't do nothing unless somebody has to say, "Oh, they must have did such and such a thing." Like you sound like Django. What's his name? The butler in Django. That's how that sounds to me. That's what I hear. Exactly. Like, uh, Steve, yes, sound like Steve. Like, just let the man get well. Just let him get well. And it's not that they've been cloning humans for ages. So, like, like real talk, it has nothing to do with that. Why couldn't he just be sick? And like, why couldn't he just be sick? And if it's really that important to find out, then I promise you, if you ask part of your spiritual team to give you a dream of the truth, you'll receive it. But that's all I'm gonna talk about. Jamie and his like his wellness. He's well, and that's it. Like, like no, it's like no, like a bunch of Steves running around. Like we can't get rich, we can't get sick, we can't have kids, we can't do nothing. We can't do nothing without somebody doing master's work and have something to say. Why couldn't it just be wellness? And understanding that the power of our words is so freaking powerful. Look at how well they manipulated us. You think about them taking our ancestors to the lithium springs. They didn't just make them drink. They made them drink and speak over themselves. Because a spell is only as potent as the words that you use. It's only as potent as the words that you use. So then we, as they talked about in the songs, and first off, I am a hip hop head and I still listen to hip hop and I still listen to rap. I may not listen to half of the new stuff, but please understand that I was riding down the road singing bands, but I also know how to have balance. Not everybody has that. And therein becomes the problem. Anything overdone, you will give that energy momentum. People walking around with a poverty mindset that always run around, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke. Every time you get ready to pay bills, you complain, 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 and wonder why you can't attract money. You can't attract money because you don't have a good relationship with it. You can't attract money because your relationship with money is based upon poverty. And the longer you continue to give that relationship momentum, that is what your life will look like. You will continue to manifest that energy. You have to change your mind, and you're changing your mind changes how you talk. And understand you may not be able to change your mind first. You simply have to change your speech first. You have to change how you speak first and hold yourself personally accountable for how you talk about things. You have to hold yourself accountable. So we have to like do better as people overall, but Black people most especially. You have to like, but it's easy for somebody to say, change your thoughts. Change your thoughts. Really? Really? Changing your thoughts. Apple Shishe. Apple Shishe. I can't read the name. I'm sorry. I'm not like the font on TikTok Live is like not okay. But Apple Shishe. um, um, so the idea that what I was listening to recently was one, I was listening to Abraham Hicks. There we go. And what they said was that people will continue to experience poverty if that's all they think about. But here's the thing with that. If you've never seen wealth before, how in the world can you experience, how in the world can you perceive wealth if you've never had it? Like if you've never seen it, you've never touched it. This is why those moments where when you do those drives where you give the unsheltered haircuts and clean clothes and things of that nature, when you do that kind of thing, that gives them a visualization of themselves being in a different energy. And that is what helps them see and think and perceive themselves different. See, doing the practical with the spiritual, you give them the haircut, you give them the bath. Like I have a vision of renting out hotel rooms for like a while. Like I know when I start my nonprofit, I want to get like hotel rooms and rent them out for at minimum 60 days and give them baths and haircuts and clean clothes, and then talk to them about their any work history they had and show them how to put that into a functional resume. You have to be able to see it, but if you can't see it, you can't change your thoughts. If you've never had an experience of having a full plate of food on your table, how can you change your thoughts when you don't know what a full plate of food looks like? And this is the difference between how they talk about spirituality and we talk about mindfulness. You have to be put in that position. So I want a house. I've never owned a house. My parents owned a house, but I want a house. But I want to own a house that's big enough for not simply my family, but at least part of my immediate family, mine and whoever I get married to, go ahead and keep that go floating out in the universe, can stay there. And or land with several houses on it. But how can I visualize a house that big if I've never lived in one? If I don't have friends that lived in one? I'm going to go to open house in one of them nice neighborhoods. Oh yeah, because you have to see yourself in it. I'm going to go to open house. I'm going to walk around and take pictures. If I'm lucky, I'll have somebody come with me and they can take real good pictures of me in the bathroom, in the living room, because you know them houses be staged, so they have furniture. Even if it's not the specific house I want, I have to see myself in a house of that magnitude. I have to see myself in one. I keep saying I want to drive a Camaro, and I am going to drive a Camaro because I do want a cocaine white Camaro. I want that. But I also don't have a relationship with luxury cars because I've never been in one. I've never driven a luxury car. So if someone says, hey, what kind of luxury car? I don't know because I've never driven one. So now I got to go test drive a luxury car. Why? Because I need to be in that energy. You don't know what the energy is. You have to be able to visualize it. So I got to go I can't visualize myself in a Cadillac because I ain't never been in one. I can't visualize myself in a Lexus because I ain't never been in one. But the beauty of the thing is I can go to a car lot. I can go to a car lot and go put myself in one. Even if I'm not going to buy it, I'm just going to drive. Like, let me just go for a ride. Let me just go for a ride. And then as I go for the ride, I can see it. Now I know what the experience of me driving, whatever it is, and then I can see it. So when we talk about the unsheltered and we talk about people who are underprivileged, they have to experience the something else so that they can see it. Those young men and young women who live in underprivileged communities that go on to play in the NBA, they go on to play that way because they had an opportunity to play, and they had the opportunity to play on bigger and bigger stages. They could see it. They were able to see it and visualize it and call it forward to them. Plus, it was probably aligned in their destiny. Being able to see yourself and see yourself well and see yourself wealthy and see yourself prosperous. But if you've never been well, if you've never been wealthy, you can't see it. Thinking about myself growing up, I'm an 80s kid. I'm a 70s baby, but I'm a kid of the 80s, and colorism was real in my elementary and middle school years. So I became a grown woman who didn't like her complexion. Keep my gap? Oh no, this thing was good in getting ready to be closed. Good and getting ready to be closed. I was closing this bad boy. It's funny because I had a dream, and in the dream it made mention of my gap and how it would be received in Nigeria. And I woke up laughing. Like, I didn't want that. And I didn't have the words to speak I'm beautiful over myself because I didn't think it. And my experience had not told me that. But there was one person came to me. He's like, you're a goddess. A who? A what? What do you mean? Had never heard such a thing before. And so what I did is took all of their affirmations. I can't see it, but you know what? I know how to say some words over and over again because intention and momentum will make a manifestation. So every day, I would recite the beautiful things other people said about me, even if I could not think them and believe them myself. And I did it every day until one day I said it and I was like, oh, snap. I believe that. That's when you know. I said this thing and it didn't feel like I was just repeating what somebody else said. It felt like I spoke the truth. It felt like I was speaking truth. And that's when the mind is now starting to change. Sometimes our mind is not what changes first, our words are. And sometimes that's why we are aligned to certain people in our life. Send me a message, inbox me. Apparently, I need to get on Discord because you're like the fourth or fifth person to say something to me about Discord. And so I'm gonna stop turning my nose up and just consider this a sign from the universe. Go ahead and inbox me I'm like, why? Like my mom, look, my mom's on Discord having the best time with authors. How to do it with your for what? I was like, I'm gonna. Then one of my guy kids is like, yo, I've asked Discord. Bombastic side eye. Why? It looked like MS-DOS. That's why I keep running away from it. It looked like old MS-DOS, and I'm looking for the C prompt. And if you're not my age, that's going to go over your head. But if you are you're at least 40, you get the reference. It looked like MS-DOS, and I'm looking for the C prompt. That's what I'm looking for every time I look at it. It gives me America Online, but on Wi-Fi. That's so the fact that I'm telling you to I'm allowing myself to be open to new opportunities. So send me the details. Send me the details. It looked like American Online. I'm just on Wi-Fi. I'm just on Wi-Fi. So yeah, so I did the movie because that's really all I wanted to go live for, is to talk about They Clone Tyrone, because the fact that I got my mama to say she would watch it, I'm excited. I am excited. She said that when they're going to come over and we'll all watch it together, and I'm going to try really hard not to point at stuff on the screen. Somebody sent help. Somebody said, you know what? This is not going to be. My parents are conscious in a different way. It's not the spirit that they see. Our parents are children of the 50s and 60s, so they're militant. So they will catch most of the vibes. Even if they don't catch any spiritual implications, they will catch most of the vibes from the movie. And I have to give gratitude that my Ori chose them to be my parents, because I look sometimes at certain things and I'm like, yo, did y'all know that y'all were breaking generational cycles? Like, did you know? Did you know? Like, you probably didn't know, but I need you to know the generational cycles that y'all have been breaking with your children, and which puts us in a better position to then continue the work of breaking more cycles. I look at memes around, like, I was talking to my cousin about work, and I said I didn't get my first job until I graduated. I was in college. I was in college when I got my first job, and that was going against what my parents said, because I lived at home. I lived at home, and my parents told me I did not have to work. Focus on school, focus on getting your degree. We will make sure you are taken care of. But me being oldest child syndrome and not wanting to be a burden, that's how I ended up working. That's how I ended up working. And guess who didn't finish? The ones who listened finished. My siblings finished. They listened. Parents said you don't have to work. They listened. They finished. I didn't listen, and I didn't finish. And it's okay. But I listen to other people. As soon as my child get old enough from a work permit, why? Don't you hate your job? Like, real talk. Like, I need this to make sense. You detest going to work. Unless you work for yourself, if you are working for somebody else, chances are you dislike your job. So why would you force that on your kids? You just want them to have high blood pressure as a teenager? You want them to be stressed out as a teen. You'd like to see if they'll go ahead and go grade early. This is a science project, because otherwise there's no logical reason you should be opposing having a job on your child if you dislike it. It's one thing to encourage them to see what fulfills their heart. What's fulfilling to your heart? What kind of things would you like to do? Not work. What kind of things would you like to do that nourish your being, that could also be something that you would do in order to create wealth? We got too many people who play video games on YouTube making bank for us to act like our child that wants to sit home playing video games can't make no money doing it. That is a lie. It is a limiting belief. So we stop telling our children these lies and fairy tales. So I told them, like, my parents didn't make me work. My parents did not make me work. And what's the beautiful thing is I ended up going to a high school for really intelligent children. So I had a resume full of volunteer experience from school. And that's when I did decide to work. I know people now who can't get a job making $10 an hour, and that was my first job. I didn't work at McDonald's. I can't relate. Burger King, I can't relate. I can't. Burlington Coat Factory, no idea. My first job was at a doctor's office as a medical office assistant at 18 years old because my resume was phenomenal. My parents didn't make me work though. That was oldest child syndrome. My parents was breaking cycles. They're like, you do not have to work. Nope. And when I did leave home, come back, and they charged me rent, you know what they did when I left? They handed it back to me. I left home and at some point ended up moving back home. And they told me, you got to pay this much rent. And I gave it to them. And when I moved out again, they handed me an envelope full of all the money I ever gave them. My parents were breaking generational cycles. And I love them for that. They ain't perfect by a long shot, but Lord knows my parents was doing things like, I don't know. I didn't know. I don't. Even my friends are like, yo, your parents are special. My friends be telling me my parents are special. I'm like, they're all right. They're okay. They're okay, but I listen to them. My mother and my father were not married all my life up until 2013. They weren't married. They absolutely were not married. And my mother said she would not get married until it was legal for everyone to get married. So the year they married is the same year that gay marriage became legal. Parents, special individuals, super special. So I'm looking forward to watching They Clone Tyrone with them because I'm kind of really curious to see how they're going to react to it. Alafia. That's funny. I wish you had been on early. I would just. Did you have you watched They Clone Tyrone? Have you watched it? Please tell me you watched it. Say that you watched it. Say yes. Peer pressure. Say yes. I watched it. I totally watched it. Because that's what I was talking about earlier. I was talking about the movie and all the juicy. Come on, people, see what's going on. Come on, people, see what's going on. I saw all the good juice, all the good juiciness. I need you to watch it. I need you to watch it. Like, you have to watch it, and then we'll just have a side talk. You got to watch it, and then we can have a side talk because so much, so much in that movie. Like, I won't rehash the whole thing, but I feel like it was definitely Black Mirror for Black people. It was a Black Mirror for Black people, hands down. Hands down. Can you tell that I cut my locks or trim the ends? I can't say I cut them, but I did trim the ends of my locks. And I was going to post this, and I realized I did not post. I didn't post it. Oh, I got a few more I need to do. I need to do these. I got scissors in here. Wait, I got scissors. Hold on, I just left y'all. Okay, you can text me. I got like one student I'm meeting with tonight. Is this all blonde? Dude. Yeah, it is. Okay. Alrighty. Well, there we go. Yeah, so when I started my locks, my tips were blonde. And this was at a time when I was in a lot of pain, a lot. I was in a lot of mental, emotional pain. And so I recently decided that to symbolize not being as much pain, I was going to cut the blonde off. Oh, it's right there. I'll cut the blonde off as a reminder that I'm not carrying that pain no more. So I decided to clip my ends on a Tuesday, sitting under my Tuesday speech therapy tree. Okay, hit me up afterwards. I'll be done. I should be done with my student right around 8. Right around 8, I should be done. You hit me up. Hit me up. Okay, so as always. Yay. Yay. Okay, so one thing I did not know that I didn't expect talking about Tyrone and them was gonna take this long. So yeah, I'm gonna get ready to go. And yes, I'm using my live video as a mirror, trying to see if there's any more I need to take care of. So I just want to say thank y'all. If you didn't watch, if you didn't catch this from the beginning and you watched They Clone Tyrone, please go to my YouTube channel because you can watch my review of the movie from the beginning. I would love to know your thoughts. So make sure you drop some nuggies in the comment to say how you felt about the movie, what you picked up, what you saw. Maybe you saw something I didn't see, which means I'm gonna have to watch it again and take notes about what you. Hi, Isaac. Take notes about what you saw as opposed to what I saw in the movie. But yes, the playback will be on my YouTube channel. The playback is also on my Book of Many Faces, so it is on my Facebook. Oh snap! I hit 1K likes. Ew! Yay! 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 But the beginning of the movie part will be on there. I don't know if I'm going live anymore this weekend. My son's birthday was last weekend, but he was with his pappy. So this weekend, I'm going to do something with him for his birthday. We're going to have the sprinkler and the water hose. Hopefully, all things being well, depends on the rain. Then we may have the rain. As long as it's not lightning, we'll have the rain. Play outside, and I'll bake some cupcakes and fry some chickens and some French fries or something else that they like to eat and celebrate his birthday. So, but I had to go do this live. I had to, like, They Clone Tyrone was worthy of a live. It was worthy of a live. And if you ask me beyond, I would watch it again. And I don't like hood movies. I do not. I do not. That is just not my thing. The only reason I even have an awareness of any of the other ones of my youth is because I watched it with somebody else. But if you were like, hey, I'm going to go watch such and such a thing, I'm not telling you names because I'm not trying to have y'all try to revoke any black cards. Ha ha. I probably wouldn't have watched it. So They Clone Tyrone was not on my list of movies to watch. But the moment my mentor said they cloned everybody but the black woman, what did you say? Oh, they were sprinkling stuff like that. Had to watch it. So make sure you catch my review of the movie from the beginning. Who's calling me? Oh. Yeah, catch the movie from the beginning. For all my folks, the last live somebody asked me, did I have spots in my mentorship program? I do still have spots available in my mentorship program. I will be taking new mentees up until the 1st of September. After the 1st of September, y'all gonna have to wait until I release the online version of the program, because anybody, especially if you're thinking you're gonna initiate, you're gonna have to join the program by September, like no later than September 1st. I'm not taking any more new, not for that specifically. No. I'll be capped off at that point, and then just give me probably to October. And then the online version of the program should be available for people to just simply purchase, enroll in, and you could purchase it, enroll in the program. You'd still be able to join for the group sessions. You'll still get the workshops, all that good stuff. But because my target audience are Black, Gen X, and early millennials, I know y'all work. And I understand that, especially it's targeting that group, because us coming into our awakening at like 30 and 40 years old, like, it's like, okay, all this lingo, I don't, and I don't use any of it. I don't use a lot of it. I really don't. Like, I don't call my higher self my higher self. It's my favorite self. It's my favorite, my absolute favorite self. This gives you some flexibility. You can take the online course at your leisure. The group sessions are 1, so that you know you have community. Because when I started going through my journey, everyone said that same thing. I feel alone. So I decided to create space for you not to. I love when my students who actually are really like they're on the journey and their spiritual gifts are awakening, that they can come into our group sessions and mention some weird stuff that went down, and they know that they're not going to be judged. Like, yo, I just seen such and such a thing, and I just need to tell y'all so that I don't feel crazy. And that's so important because you don't get disheartened. So that's the point of having the community. And also I did it in such a way where even though there is African spirituality woven and weaved and married and giving a lot of this structure, you don't have to go down that path. You don't. But what I also realize is a lot of people that come to me are trying to. So it's in there. But it is not a yes, you're going to do this and automatically initiate. Nope, that's not my intention. It's not my intention. It is for you to take the keys, just take the keys and go find your own car to drive. Is to take the keys and decide what your relationship and your spirituality is going to look like. Highlight from my day today was one of my students telling me, I had them write a letter to God. No, this was before that. They had to figure out their personal core values. Most of us are like, what? My company has core values. You do too. And you probably assume you know your core values, but if you've never sat down and taken the time to truly identify what your core values are, do you actually even know them? Because I've done this 3 times and they changed every time based upon where I was in my life. So they had to do that. And what he decided to do, because I also gave them the 16 principles of E5. And the assignment I gave them was to read the 16 principles and write each one in their own words. That is how you take them in. Write them in your own words, in your own voice. So it has your ashe. And what he decided to do was pick a value and find the principle of Ifa that it most aligned with and meditate on them every day and see how it shows up. I didn't tell him to do that. I didn't tell him to do that. Hi. I didn't tell him to do that. But he did. And I was just like, yo. So one of my students said that one of the courses that I had them take, Ashe, thank you. One of my students said that they took took a class and it changed the way they communicate with their husband. And I was so touched by that. One of them literally did their numerology with their kids. And I'm like, yo, understanding the ripple effect. Understanding the ripple effect. I understand that sometimes I sleep on myself, but my course is the bomb. I'm in the midst of building it, 555 on my clock. Yay. I'm in the midst of building it. And in the course of building, I do that. I help people do that with such profound efficiency. If helping people learn who they are was a superpower, I have it. If helping people get to know themselves in the totality, their light, their shadow, and want to be married to themselves, feel like I am in love with this person, I just want to date him, her, them, they, that is my superpower. I do that and I do it well. And I do it by giving them the tools. Anybody that joins my program, you won't learn how to do a full-blown birth chart reading, but you do know the basics. You will learn enough to be dangerous with yourself and determine who you are. I say hi. I'm going to tell him thank you. I'm going to have to send him an extra thank you for sending folks my way. I told that's that part down to a science. They have to, as part of their homework, pull their birth chart, look at their sun, moon, and rising. And I give them journal prompts to help them interpret those placements. they have to do the calculation for their life path number, their birthday number, their attitude number, their destiny number, and their personality number, and their soul urge number. That is a lot of information. Lot of information. It's on my website. It's on my website, and link is in my bio. Like, it's on there. But they have to learn a lot about themselves. We had to go do things. They had to do shadow work and hold space. What I love is one of them added their ancestor veneration into their shadow work. So they started doing the work and looking at their ancestral lineage. And in our one-on-one, he's like, yo, I've got some really heavy stuff happening. I'm like, well, what's going on? And he's like, I found out, he's like, I knew some of my ancestors owned slaves, but it was different to actually see the names of slaves on paper. It was different to actually see their names on paper. And when he told me that, I could feel it, like the pain of that information. So I gave him some things to do to not only work on the elevation and healing of that, what that on his side, but also what to do for the those enslaved people that were transitioned, who probably needed elevation as well. They probably needed to be told, I see this from a different perspective, and we know this was wrong. They probably need to know that. They need that. And it gave him some things to do that he could do in his physical reality to, like, if you had ancestors who were homophobic or would have been transphobic, what do? You become an advocate for that group. You do anti-homophobia and anti-trans work to heal and bring light to that shadow that's happening in your lineage. So that's what I told him to do. Like, if you had ancestors that owned slaves, then you have to be an advocate for, not simply, you have to be an accomplice in anti-racism work. That is the only way to heal that. You have to not be an ally, but an accomplice. You have to be an accomplice in doing that work. And that requires you to go deep into yourself first and look in those shadows and do it with compassion. Those that know better do better. So you have to do it with compassion. You have to pay attention to those opportunities and address them. And I loved his openness to receive that. I love his openness to receive that. And he's like, yo, I got work to do. I know what I need to do. And I'm so in love with it. I love seeing them complete their courses and come to me, and it's like, you wanted me to write a letter to God, and that made me emotional. It should. It should. If you have to write a letter to the creator of all existence and say, hey, I'd like a relationship with you, and this is what I would like it to look like, that could be scary as heck. The creator could just do in any moment to anything. So for you to take that moment and say, hey, I'm going to write this letter and tell you what I want, how I want to engage with you, how I want to bond with you. Like, no one's told me to do that. I just did. So I'm excited. I'm working on their next segment where they're going to go to the spiritual gym, which is going to be so much. That's probably going to be the most fun, is taking them through their spiritual gymnasium. And what I love about this is you don't have to be a psychic to get something from it. My intention is not for them to all of a sudden, oh, I'm a psychic now. No. In fact, that's like, and debunk the idea that you have, when you come to an African spiritual practice, you have to be a medium and a clairvoyant. That's not necessarily everyone's path, and I love that for us. I love it for us. They could just simply exist. And that's the whole point of the program. It's for them to exist in their oneness with the source. So that's why I call it from self to source. It's to exist in their oneness with source energy so that they can no longer feel like they have to downplay who they are. They can be themselves with righteous audacity in whatever way they decide they want to show up. And I love that. And people ask, like, well, what is it, a spiritual awakening doula for the African American diaspora? Went to the nail salon and they have a money altar right there in the front. I went to the nail salon. Can you tell I got my nails done? I haven't had them done in a while. And they have a money altar right in the front. Nobody says anything about it. But it's also not a Black owned nail salon. I need them to normalize Black people having altars. Thank you. I need them to normalize Black people having altars. Like, normalize it. I need them to feel like that's normal. I need them to recognize that the grandma that had all the pictures of the past family members sitting on the fireplace mantle with the flowers and stuff, she had an ancestor altar, whether she called it that or not. And that needs to be normalized for us. And my Gen X crew, we are coming to this now. We're coming to it now. And we're coming to it in such a way where it's like, you know I'm 40, right, Lord? Lord, do you know I'm 40? Why did you wait till now? Like, I understand what that feeling looks like. I understand what it's like to be Black in an Abrahamic religion and to have this fear that your parents are going to think that you're crazy. I understand that. I understand what it feels like to feel like you want to tap into your African spiritual self, but you can't see yourself in the African spiritual tradition. I need them to see me so that they can see themselves. And it's not that there are not Black people in these traditions. They need to see a Black African diasporic woman in America. They need to see me. They need to see me as Ianifa so that they can see themselves. They like, oh, she like me. Did she just do a reading in a Yankee fitted? And I did. And I did. Respectfully. Full on divination channeling with a white Yankee fitted on. That would be me. Did she just divine a message using earth, wind, and fire? And I did. I did. I did. Did you just tell them that if they learn those Orikis in English, it is just as powerful as that they could say them in Yoruba? I did. I did. I did. I need them. And what I love having two non-Black students is that I could still be the spiritual awakening doula for the Black ASAP diaspora and still vibrate in such a way that everyone feels welcome. My people are my calling, my mission. They are my purpose because they are my brothers and sisters. But understand, if the creator of all says, this child needs Mama Yemoja as you, then understand, I'm going to hold you close to me like that. I'm going to hold you close to me just like that, straight like that. Oh, we going to divide on it. Like, don't get it twisted. The divination's going to happen. And what I'm also realizing is it's the full, I'm going to say this with my whole chest. It is for the full diaspora. That means your gender. Oh, first off, oh my God. So pretty. Oh my God. Thank you. So pretty. Oh my God. That was so pretty. But you know what? All my queer folk, I'm here for y'all. Like, for real, especially, like, not to knock the women, but for some reason, I feel like this one is specific to the men. I feel like this one, because when I look at my current collective, all of the women are straight. All of them. They're all straight. I'm the only one that's bi. They're all straight. They're all straight. but the men are all queer. And I'm like, so I don't know what's happening with that. But I felt like I wanted to make sure I put it out in the universe. You have a home here. You have a home in my Ile. You do. And I will never challenge you to be anything other than yourself. Never. Yummy, yummy. Fruit salad. Yummy, yummy. Like, I will never, ever challenge you to be any more than yourself. You know what? It is. It's like, and I'm like, I'm so many others. Like, the level of othering, like, I like the level of othering, black woman, grew up in, I'm in Georgia. I'm in Georgia. Georgia Peach. Georgia Peach. You know, it's a lot of Christians here. Hebrew. Black woman, Hebrew. It's there goes three others. When I was younger, I had a bit of a stutter, and I could not hold a pencil correct. Hold on, let me qualify that better. I couldn't hold a pencil to standard. I still can't. The appropriate pincer grasp for a pencil, I cannot do it to this day. To this day, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't. And now, thinking backwards, my third grade teacher tried to put me in special ed because of the way I hold my pencil. And my mom came to the school ready. Like, yes, I look. I just be checking by. Then, decided to, initially I thought I was gay. Like, I dated men, and then when I met my ex-girlfriend, who's also my ex-fiance, I thought I was gay. I thought this is why I did things didn't work with men, is because I was gay. Until she and I split and met a guy. And I was like, oh snap, what is this? But I'm also like good at being faithful. So I could have just easily just not had any eyes for any dudes because I was with her. So got single again and like, oh, I see y'all now. Y'all smell good. Y'all smell good. And for me, it was like, okay, I gotta respond to that in a second. But I came out like twice. I came out, hold on. I was outed as being gay. Not openly outed, but I called my mother upset. Totally not related to my girlfriend. But I also had not told my mother she was my girlfriend. And so my mother says to me, did you and your girlfriend have a fight? Horror, abject horror. What do you mean? Why are you saying that? And then I cried because she knew. And she was like, did you feel like you couldn't tell us? And before I could answer, she said, why would you feel that way? All we ever want is for you to be happy and safe. Man, that made me cry worse. And I'm a Cancer rising. This is like I do. I cry. And so I cried even worse. When I decided to date men again, I hid it. I went in the closet again, dating men. Like, I went in the closet dating men, hid that joint. I didn't want nobody to know. I didn't want my gay friends to know I was dating men again. So I hid. And someone saw me. I don't know what happened, but someone told my ex-girlfriend I was dating men again. And so then she called me. I heard you. So then I was outed twice. Then I guess I went to spiritual closet for a little while. Like, I went in the closet for a little while spiritually, and I remember I picked the most profound tarot reading to come out and post. Let's just say I did a tarot reading and it was supposed to just be a message from the ancestors, and in November I divined and saw January 6th. So yeah, then there's that. So yeah, me coming out of the closet, I'm a specialist in coming out of the closet. I specialize in coming out of the closet. But about this Shango energy, let me tell you how this is a problem for me. This is a problem. This is a problem for me. because in the shop I work at part-time, somebody be coming through there wafting in lightning, wafting in it. Just smells like thunder and lightning. The first time I saw them, they had on red and white. They had on red and white. They had a fitted hat on, and I'm just like, and I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, bruh. And I had to say it out loud, like, you are just giving all manner of Shango's energy. He's like, for real? I said, yes, 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 very much so. I didn't know him and the guy that owns the shop were friends. So now he just be like popping in, and I'm like, go away. Go away. Go away, sir, because you're challenging me. I feel like every time you come in my presence, I'm being tested, and I need you to leave. He doesn't know that, but I be thinking it real hard, like, please leave, please go away. I don't. I bet you smell good. I bet you smell absolutely amazing. And then he's so nice, and he comes up to me yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, hi, I'm good." And then he shakes my hand, and I'm just like, "My hand smell good. Okay, all right." Shakes my hand. When he left, it was wild because he got real close. He's like, "It was a pleasure to see you again, sir. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Just get." Had like immediately picked up the phone. Hey. You busy? Can you come over? This ain't okay. This is not okay. I don't like it. So that Shango energy is just, and I realized that Orishas, at least masculine Orishas, go ahead. Don't tell. Do not tell. Don't tell. But the first time I went to dinner with my boyfriend, he showed up in a red and white Adidas, like he was doing something, and he had full red and white on, and he's a Kappa. And I was just like, I pulled up and I looked in the rearview mirror as he was walking behind my car. My bad. And I'm hot too, so I'm sorry. That might be me for real. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He walked behind my car. I seen that red and white on, and I just shook my head and said, "Y'all hilarious for this one. Did you really put him in red and white? Like he just want to make sure, like, hey, in case you were missing any signs, here you go, a loud one, look like a whole stop sign. Here you go. He's loud. It's loud." And I'm just like, okay. But in my friend group, the masculine, thank you. Oh, what is that? Witching Kitchen? Yes, thank you for the swan. Oh, and it's a white bird. That's special. Yay. The way that the men in my life manifest as the different Orishas, especially in mine. So apparently I cultivate what's called a hive. Apparently I inevitably manifest as a queen bee or a mama bee, and then I attract bees like into my hive. And when they described it, I was like, oh snap. And I do this often. I very much do this often, where it'll be me and then like this group around me. So in my current hive, I realized it's Ogun, Shango, and Obatala. And so I did a YouTube video about how each one of my friends was an embodiment of those particular Orishas. I would love to divine and see if they, which Orishas they would have if they would decide to go in the tradition. But one is very much Shango. He is very charismatic, natural leader. I'm sorry. Look, I'm good. I'm totally good. I'm fully present. I'm good. And I'm good. I'm good. But one is he's charismatic. He's definitely he's the leader of the group. Whether they want to admit it or not, he's the leader of the pack. Respectfully, he's the leader. He is absolutely the leader of the group. Dance, sing, like he walks. If all three of them walk in, you're immediately looking at him. You're immediately looking at him. One is Ogun. He like, if Ogun was a person, it would be him. Like in the visuals, if Ogun was a person, it would absolutely be him. Absolutely be him. And when I listen to how he talks about challenging things and breaking through, he's Ogun. The calm, cool, but very much protective father energy is the other one. He is the calmest of the group, but he's also he's protective in very much in a father way. He's very much protective, but all of them are protective. Like the Shango one, if I dial that one 911, if someone's going to show up armed, it's him. Actually, him and Ogun will both show up armed. It's no telling what they're bringing, but they're bringing something. The other one, that's Obatala, is coming with a cool head. He's coming with the cool head. It's like, everybody calm down. Just relax. He's coming with the coolness. The other two are choosing violence. The other two are choosing violence. And what I realized is, depending on where I am in my life, how that energy continues to manifest. So lately, based on where I am, I keep drawing Shango and like drawing him, old, young. I just drawing him. Oh, yes. Oh my God, that's such a. I have to show you the AI I did of Ogun because he looks like a skinny Luke Cage. Yes, absolutely. I would agree. Luke Cage, yes. 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 100%. Yes. Yes. And there is no celebrity. There is only one person well known that is Shango. What you call it did okay on American Gods. Like, I appreciate the lock since that's how I see Shango. But Professor Odie is Shango. There's somebody else that's him too, but I don't know his name like that. But Professor Odie is Shango. You can tell he is almost Shango. He is that's Shango. That is Shango all day long. All day long. All day. Absolutely. That's yes, him. Him. That's the one. That's Shango. And he is almost Shango. He said it in a video. He let that Igbo accent slip out. I was like, oh, I'm here for look. I sat up straight and everything. I'm listening. What you gotta say? I'm listening, Baba. Teach. Talk to us. I love it. This has been so much fun. I am hot. God dang. I know my AC on. Like hot, warm. Mama's gonna. Oh, I got some water over here. I got a swiggle of some moon water left. Okay, as I always do when I hit that 90-minute mark, telling me that it's almost time for me to go and get my life together. So y'all got 5. Go ahead, 5 questions. I'm sorry. Hold on. Like, let me help y'all because I am physically hot. So if y'all are picking that up, I'm sorry. So let me do something to cool myself down because so that I don't set all of y'all on fire. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. All right. So as I always do, when I hit that hour and a half mark, y'all got 10 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes. Ask me anything, and I might have an answer within reason. Ask me anything within reason. Within reason. Because I know some of y'all take that and run with it. So, yeah. Any question you want to ask within reason, I got 10 minutes, and then I'm going to go prepare for my next Godchild's one-on-one. Whew. How was that? You're speaking. Yeah, like I had to throw that within reason. Okay, so all right. So in terms of Orisha, that has to be done through divination. It is normally divine initiation. Loving way each of your icons. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. I'm gonna answer that one next. Okay, but it comes up in divination. It definitely comes up in divination. Even for myself with non-orishas, the only reason I know who in other, I'll say pantheons, just to give you, to make it make sense, that I have is I got it in the channel reading. So I know for me, it was much confirmation in terms of like certain energies. But yeah, it's done through Ifa divination. If you get just a general one, there may be orishas that are close to you that are helping with certain things because of where you are in your life at that moment. But initiation gives you like your destiny, which includes which orishas that said, "Hey, we rocking with this one right here. We rocking with this one." But the most loving way, oh my gosh. Okay. All right. The most loving way each one has shown up. Okay. And I'm gonna do the most prominent one that's not an Orisha, and then I'll go into Orisha. But the Archangel Gabriel. Um my mom told me a story that when I was really young, like not even 1 year old, so really, really little baby. um Her and my dad were leaving a store or something, and she was getting ready to put me in the car seat. I'll call my mommy back. Talk my mama up. I'll call her back in a minute. But she said they were leaving the store and she was getting ready to put me in a car seat. And she had this overwhelming, like, don't do it. It was so strong. She pulled me out, got back in the front seat, holding me. And she's looking at my dad and he's looking at her and she's giving him that look like, don't even ask me to put her back there because I'm not. My dad didn't argue, didn't fight, didn't even ask. Started the car, they drive off, and they get hit on the side where my car seat was. I immediately went to my altar. And this is me. All right. So I know you, all of you, y'all were alive. So it ain't y'all. There we go. That rules y'all out. So who was it? And in my ancestor veneration journey, thinking of ways to commune and communicate with my ancestors, I had flashcards. And I mean like literal, like little kid flashcards. And so I used them as oracle cards. So I'm shuffling like, who was it? And H comes out, and then the sun. And so my firstborn son, whose last name begins with an H, is an ancestor. But I've also divined he is also Gabriel. He is his namesake. His name is Gabriel, and he is also his namesake. So there's that one. He even showed up in my initiation. He came through so strongly. It sent me into, I felt his presence and I started to cry because I felt his presence. Of all my ancestors, he's the one that will mostly make me cry. The ones I knew in life do, but not the way my son does. And he came through, and it was so wild because my god sister brought a toy with her, but she didn't know why she had it. And he wanted a toy. He wanted me to have a toy to play with. And so they're trying to find me a toy, and she's sitting beside me. She's like, I've got this. And she had a fidget spinner. His brother, my rainbow baby, is autistic. And, fidget spinners initially came out to help children on the spectrum with their stimming. So she had a fidget spinner in her pocket. So my whole initiation, I played with a fidget spinner. So that's one way. And he was like, don't cry, and wanted me to relax and calm down because I was like a hot boiled mess. Hot mess. It's interesting for me because that's probably true in Mojuba to your two granddaughters. The way some of the Orishas show up is often not necessarily for me, but for me, for somebody else. So, like Oshun came through real heavy for someone who needed her to manifest. Like they needed it. And even though I am not crowned Oshun. I have a lot of Oshun siblings, and they all trigger her to show up in me. It's the wildest thing. They'll be in a space where they're in need and they need a message. One in particular, almost every time, if the message has to come from Oshun, she will come through me with the most love and the most care, but the most truth in a most beautiful way. And it's always exactly what they need to hear in that moment. And her coming through in a way to where she felt bad because the impression that was given of her, um, Ashe, okay, the impression given to her of her was not her fullness, and not even it wasn't her, and she was not happy. Actually, and it wasn't anger; it was sadness. And the way that she came through to help me tell this person her truth was so lovely. Was absolutely so lovely. Yemoja, it's interesting for me because I feel like Yemoja manifests through me again, mostly through from me to other people, but it's kids. It's kids, and it has always been, she's just always been. She has always been. When I was a manager at Pizza Hut, everyone on my shift called me mama. Everyone did. When I was in high school, I had children, like the younger people. Okay, so I went to school where all the smart kids went, and all of these schools, so the fine arts school, the smart elementary school, and the one that I went to for engineering and health science, they all sat together, so we all rode the bus together. So I was one of those people, I went through extremes. My friends were either like great grandma age or little kid age in comparison to me. Like I didn't have a whole lot of in between. You was either some my grandma or some my baby. So the elementary and middle school kids used to hang out with me, and they called me mama. To this day, now, if they post on my wall, they still address me as mama. And when I see little kids and little babies, it's funny because their parents were like, they don't do that with people. I give off mommy vibes. I don't know what to tell you. I give off all of the mommy vibes. The most recent experience was someone channeled an image of Yemoja that they painted, and she looks like me. And she looks like me. So yes, Yemoja. Shango came to me in the park. I was having a day that day too. I was really having a day. I was just feeling a way about myself, and I was walking in the park. And this man, older man, like could easily be my father, older man, wild, like one of the few times he had to come to me with locks. So wild, just a wild afro, skinny, white t-shirt, red basketball shorts. He's, jogging and gets to me and stops. Cold turkey. I also had yellow on that day. So he stops. He said, "My God, you are absolutely beautiful." And all I wanted to do was cry. Because when the moment he said it, I looked at him, I said, "Oh my God, it's Shango." And then I wanted to cry. I immediately wanted to cry because it was absolutely him. It was absolutely him. Oh, thank you. And I'm like, okay, so Shango and I remember sending a Facebook Messenger to our group chat with my god siblings. I'm like, yo, Shango just came to me as an old man in the park. Shango just showed up as an old man in the park and ran up to me and told me I was beautiful. So that was Shango. That's funny. The Iyami. wait. It just thundered. It just thundered. And if you feel like you want to say it, don't post that comment with that K in the chat because I'm trying to stay planted here on Earth. So the Iyami have been so, especially considering the way the Iyami show up in me, has been so healing. And what I love is the way they show up. I'll end up doing something, and inevitably, the largest bird possible will show up. The largest bird possible, but in particular, a crane. So there's a statue for the Iyami, and it looks like a crane. It looks just like a crane. And so my Ilode had one. And this particular day, if someone, thank you for the hearts, thank you so much. So the way it happened is when I was learning how to feel my intuitive yes, and I do this regularly just to keep that muscle going, I let my intuition ride me around town. And so this particular day, it's like I need to go to this particular culture shop. I don't know why. I just need to go to this shop. So when I walk in, this is also fresh after initiation. I think it only been a couple of weeks, so I feel still kind of like buzzing. So I walk in the door. And I'm like, why am I here? I'm just looking around like, why am I here? I didn't know why my intuition brought me there. It's just like, you need to go over there. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, why am I here? And I'm walking around and I'm like, my astral had left. Consciously, I'm still walking, but I had left. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? So I go sit down. They got a copper high top bar stool, pure copper. First off, from a logical science perspective, I probably shouldn't have sat on that because it probably made me leaving the building spiritually all that much worse. So I sit on the chair and I'm like trying to figure out who it is. And I'm like, it's Oya? It's a shop. It's Oya? And I'm like, okay, maybe it's Oya. And I'm just walking, and before I can leave the store, something says turn around. So I turn, and there it is in statue for the Iyami. And I'm like, oh my God, it's you. And so I go over it and I greet it. And I'm like, hello. And then I just end up sitting on the floor in their shop with the Iyami. I just end up sitting there, just sitting with the Iyami. Yeah, that was a one showed up. I have a godson who transitioned a couple of years before I had my first child. And I went to visit his grave, and one of the Iyami, like the largest hawk I've ever seen up close in real life, landed on a tree. And it wasn't like a whole tree. Like, this is a tree that maybe had been like either chopped or struck by lightning. It wasn't a whole tree, but it was a tree close to where his gravesite was, and landed there as I was walking away from his grave. So yeah, yeah, that's the wild, 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 the wildness of the way spirit has shown itself to me, and started well before I initiated. I want to say that for someone who needs it. They were manifesting for me before initiation. Before initiation, they were like, the moment I made mention that I wanted a relationship with Source, I wanted a relationship with the Creator that wasn't based upon fear, that wasn't based upon God judging me, all of them, my entire spiritual court, just started to show up. They just started to show. And I'm just like, what in the French toast? My grandmother, who I couldn't recall her face or her voice, came to me in a dream and gave me a name. And when I asked, is it the name of a spirit guide? Yes, but it's also mine. like one of my names. And so, learn in a dream that, sometimes I'll be doubling up as a spirit guide. Okay. You know, whatever, no pressure. No pressure whatsoever. Um, Shango often comes to me in dreams, like as a king. I often see him as a king, sitting on a throne big enough for somebody that's 8'12", because that's how big he is in my dreams. Um, we did energy work the other night as uh the my students after shadow. I set intention that when we do shadow work, the end of that month I was going to give them all Reiki. I was going to do distance Reiki and give them all Reiki, because I wanted to help them like align their chakras and do some cleansing work with them, because they would have been doing a whole lot of heaviness with that shadow work. So I wanted to help them move that energy. And we had one person that we worked with. No, my god sister said this for the group. And what my god sister said was, what she saw was Oya and me standing beside each other. Yeah, it did. It did. It did. So I'm standing beside Oya, and I always perceive the Orisha in dreams like 8'12". They're always giant. And in that moment, I was the same height. There's a lot of giants out there. There's a lot. My perception of the Orisha as giants has to do with me not seeing myself as big as I'm supposed to. So when I did the Reiki that night, I was the same size and I wasn't small. And I was like, okay, I finally don't see myself as small no more, because I manifested as big. But Oya has been with me since I was a little girl, because I always felt like I controlled the weather. Always felt like I controlled the weather. And the Oriki I wrote for her says that specifically, was that you standing with me in the front yard as I felt like I was controlling the storm, because it's almost always a storm. I don't feel like I control the sunshine. I feel like I control the storms. That's the way I feel. And it was getting ready to, actually, it was storming, or the storm was building up. And something told me to go outside. So I go outside, and this is my last one, for real. This is my last one. So I go outside, and the rain is falling. So if you can picture rain falling, rain's normally falling like this. The rain is doing this. That's what the rain is doing. Rain's doing this. And so I'm standing on the porch like, hey, we don't need that over here. Wait, all this spiraling, you take that over there. All that spiraling, I will be here. All that spiraling you doing, I don't need that. I don't need it. Thank you. I appreciate you. I so appreciate you. When I'm standing outside and speaking or anything, when that breeze comes through, I already know that's Oya answering. Always with a gentle breeze blowing through my hair, even when no one else perceives it there. I always get the breeze. Oh, okay. This is the last one. Okay, this is really the last one. So, and this is not Orisha. This is both an Orisha and angel. This is both an Orisha angel. It was storming, but when I first moved in, the dollar store had these little round garden plates that had different things on them, and this one particular one had an angel. And I have a very strong angel connection with myself, not simply my son, but in general. So it's been sitting on my porch, and my intention was angels guarding my house. So I storm, and then I hear a crack, and I'm like, okay. So I go outside, and the way my grass looked wet was as if there was an angel that had been laying on my yard. It's the best way I can describe it. It looked like an angel had been laying in my yard. But then I could also see a double-sided axe. So I'm just like, Good looking out. I don't know what you was looking out for, but good looking out. I appreciate it. Thanks for looking after your girl. That's all I'm asking for. It's just thanks for that. I don't even know about it. I don't even know who it is, what it was. As long as it didn't come in here, that's all I care about. That's it. That's all I care about. Hey, I just had yeah, yeah, yeah. Sean Gold showed up in my dream last night, or at least a symbol. I Aries moon me in my dreams had somebody pinned on the ground because they was talking a little bit too much noise and said something mad disrespectful. And so I had them yoked up on the ground. On my right, in my hand was a double-sided. Oh, I woke up like, oh, okay. Well, good morning, Shango. Good morning. Good morning to you. It's good to see you in the dream realm, even if it's just the X. Good morning to you. So there's how various ways my various ways the angels, the ancestors, the Orisha have continued to make themselves known. Um, indeed, indeed, in indeed. I feel that way overall, and I think that's why. Let's just say I have my visualization work in terms of protection for my house is really interesting. It's really interesting. Really, 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 really interesting. When I look at like everybody's involved. Everybody's involved. Everybody's lined up on my roof. Lined up on my roof. Okay. Yes, sir. Everybody's lined up. Okay. Thank y'all. Did y'all have fun? Did y'all enjoy yourselves? Y'all enjoy yourselves. If y'all not subscribed to my YouTube, you should go and watch what I said about the movie. Cezanne, don't watch if you planning on watching the movie. Go watch what I said after you watch it. Watch the movie first. Watch the movie first, then don't, because it's spoilers. I was spoiling the things. Oh, thank y'all. And I just let me just say this. Thank y'all for those of y'all who have followed me, follow me, tell people to follow me. I just want to say thank you. I just learned I'm over 2K followers, and I don't really, the part of me that still feels like I'm not popular can't make that make sense. Like I can't make it make sense because I'm not, like, that's the lie. I'm not popular. But apparently 2,000 folks feel like I'm cool enough to see what I'm talking about on a somewhat regular basis. And I'm just like, what? What do you mean? What do you say? What do you mean? Um, I appreciate the likes on here, and I appreciate the way TikTok does the likes because it's not necessarily how many people liked it, but how many times, how many instances, how much energy did you um it's the energy of how much what you said resonated. That's the way I perceive the likes on TikTok. It is how much did what you say resonate with the people who were on your live. So to be sitting here looking at this and it's almost 7,500 likes, I don't honestly have adequate words. I really don't have adequate words for that. Because the little girl in me who, you know, just wanted people to like her little weird Aquarius self, she's like, yo, that's a big number. She's like, yo, that's a big old number. That is not a small number. And I know big time accounts, 2,000 followers is nothing to them, but uh I that still feels so weird to me. Like I don't even know how to process the sentence. It still feels like, and it's not even like simple just humbleness. It is literally like I am the perfect temperance. I am fully aware of like if I was to articulate literally how powerful and large I know myself to be, but I'm also equally in awe of that largeness. I am both aware of how absolutely large and powerful and all of these things, and still completely in awe of it. Something will happen, and I'm like, yo, I did that? Uh, like, like I had a premonition of somebody's Orishas. It came to me in a dream, written down on a piece of paper in my notebook. And in like less than 10 hours, it came to pass. I'm still sitting here trying to wrestle that I did that. I'm still wrestling with that. So when you say like people aren't ready, I'm like, for little old me, that's how I feel. Like that my immediate reaction was like, why? I'm gentle. Like, right. But I be in my Steve Urkel mode, like, can I do that? I be just like, what? I experienced it, but I'm still like, what? I did that? I made that happen? I want to tell you what happened Soulful Saturday. I'm still sitting here like, okay, that's a thing that happened. I'm just gonna add that to the list of random ASAP things that have taken place in my life. All right, so now I'm gonna call my mommy. I'm gonna call my mommy. Plus, I need to free my sister of my children. That's why, like, for those of you who come on my lives often and ain't seen the random small faced human cameos, that's because they're with her. So I'm gonna free my sister because I can do my one-on-one with my client with the kids. So I'm gonna go and free my sister. Thank y'all so much though, for real. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate y'all. I told them earlier I probably may not go live this weekend because we're celebrating the small human's 6th birthday. So I'm gonna try to be present for him. For those of you, someone mentioned readings. My calendar is open. Even if I don't have live readings available, I always do. I have inbox available. Like I got inbox available all day. I will record a video and send you your joint quick, fast, and in a hurry. So either way, whether you get the time live or not, my time is available. Thank you. Do I have a wish list? I can put one. I'm gonna just let the universe. So give me look in the morning. I'll put one up this evening because I never honestly feel like somebody would get anything off it. So you know what? Because that came to me earlier. So I'll put a birthday wish list up for the small human. I'll put that up in a cash app for him so y'all can send him cards and whatever. Something y'all. Okay. All right. I'm gonna allow myself to be open to receive in this moment. And I'm gonna go. Bye. Y'all have a good night. Oh my God. Like what in the world? And 8 1200, wait, 1200?